For class, some of you asked me to revise some words for beginners English. So we're going to go over to the classroom to have a look at how we use the words is and are. First of all, we're going to have a look at the words is and are when we're talking about the cutlery drawer in the kitchen. So I'm going to use the phrase here is. Let's begin. Use is for one person, object or thing. Here is a girl. Here is a spoon. Here is a dog. And then when we want to talk about more than one person, object or thing, we have to say are. Here are two girls. Here are two spoons. Here are two dogs. So what's in the cutlery drawer? We're using this because you probably have a cutlery drawer in your kitchen. And this is my cutlery drawer. Using is or are when talking about the cutlery drawer in the kitchen, the drawer where we keep our knives, forks and spoons, which all together are called cutlery. What's this? Yes, I know you know it's a spoon, but what's its correct name? What type of spoon? It's a teaspoon. Yes, I use that spoon to stir my tea, and it's the smallest of the spoons in my cutlery drawer. There is a teaspoon in the cutlery drawer. What's this? Yes, I know it's a spoon. What type of spoon? Do you know the correct name? It's a soup spoon. Can you see how this spoon is wider and flatter at the top, and that's how you keep the soup inside the spoon when you're eating? There is a soup spoon in the cutlery drawer. What's this? Yes, I know you know it's a spoon. What type of spoon? It's a dessert spoon. Now, in some areas of the country, people use the word pudding. Well, that's the same thing. I use the word dessert. So if you hear pudding or dessert, it means the same thing, the food that you eat after the main part of your meal. There is a dessert spoon in the cutlery drawer. And if you're just revising is and are, but your English is quite good, look carefully at the spelling of the word dessert and don't confuse it with the word desert. The word desert, when it's talking about the sand, is a word that only has one S. So dessert, two S's please when you're writing. What's this? Oh, what a surprise! It's another spoon. But what type of spoon is this? It's slightly bigger, and I can see that the top part of the spoon is bigger. So what word do we give this spoon? Yes, it's a tablespoon. And it's very important that you know the difference between the size of the teaspoon and the tablespoon, because in some of our recipes we are asked to use the teaspoon or the tablespoon to measure. So this is a tablespoon. There is a tablespoon in the cutlery drawer. So what is the difference difference. On the first side of this picture, the smallest spoon is your teaspoon. On the last part of the picture, the largest spoon. Can you remember what that was called? Let's look. There is a dessert spoon, a soup spoon, and a teaspoon in the cutlery drawer. So you could talk about those three items separately because they're different types of spoon. And then you're saying there is. Or you could say there are 3 spoons in the cutlery drawer. So when you're talking about more than one object, person or thing, you're going to use the word are. There are 3 spoons. What's that? Quite easy, this one. And what's that? Yes, we use those together. It's a knife and fork. There is a knife and fork in the cutlery drawer. But did you notice I can also say there is a knife and a fork in the cutlery drawer. And there's the knife again. Oh, there's another knife. Do you know the difference? Very important to know the difference between these 2 knives if you eat meat. The first knife is called a table knife, and the second knife is called a steak knife, and the steak knife is much sharper than the table knife. So if I'm eating steak, I want to use the sharper knife. There is a table knife and a steak knife in the cutlery drawer. So what's in the cutlery drawer? There is a lot of cutlery in the cutlery drawer. Now you can see quite a few knives, quite a few forks, and quite a few spoons. But did you notice that I used the phrase a lot? So when we're talking about the cutlery all together, we can say is. There is a lot of cutlery. What about talking about flowers? Yes, if you know me, you know that I love to garden and I really love flowers. So, using is or are when talking about flowers. This should be easy. Let's see. Aha! Here is a flower. So here is one flower. Here are 2 flowers. So again, is for one object, person or thing, and are for 2 or more objects, people or things. What's this? Here is a bunch of flowers. Yes, when you put the flowers together and you hold them together by the stems, we call it a bunch, but we have a special name if, like in this picture, it's wrapped with a bow. We call it a bouquet of flowers. So what if you can't count the object? And we call these non-countable nouns. So for example, sand, we would say the sand is wet, the sand is hot. What about sugar? The sugar is, you could say the sugar is white, the sugar is granulated. What about water? The water is hot, the water is cold. And dessert. Do you remember I said that dessert is a word that I use but you might find some people use the word pudding. The dessert is. So we're going to have a look at my story using is and are. Are you ready? I opened my cutlery drawer and took out 3 spoons. 1 spoon is for my tea. It is a teaspoon. 2 spoons are for our desserts. They are dessert spoons. I put the spoons on the table and went back for more cutlery. Taking the 4 knives and forks from the drawer, I walked towards the dining table. "Who are those for?" my husband asked. "1 knife and fork is for you, 1 knife and fork is for me, and the other 2 knives and forks are for the boys." My husband placed a bouquet of flowers on the table. "These are beautiful," I said. So don't forget, when you're looking at is, you're talking about one person, object and thing. And when you're using are, you're talking about more than one person, object or things. So practice, practice, practice. How did you do? Did you know this already? Great. Now start writing your own stories and see if when you write, you get that correct as well. So I'll see you in the next class. Bye now.